Okay, so with number one, what you have to do is look at your point B, look at your C. Which coordinate is different? The first coordinate or the second one? The first one. And if you remember, if the signs are opposite, you add them, and the answer becomes 2 plus 3, which is 5. How many got B? Great, we're up and running.
Oh, we have to write the letter on the card.
If you circled it, it's okay. But I would tell you, probably put it on the side because it's easier for me to mark for the next time around. Actually, I'm going to give you an answer sheet for number 2 anyway. Okay, number 2 is a TRF. Set it up as a template ratio find. The A box is going to be on the top and the B is going to be on the bottom. Our given ratio is 1 to 5. Equals, and then we have box A contains 200, so that's going to go on the top. And you have to figure out this. Times by how much? Gabby, what are we timesing by? You might have done it a different way, but let's see what happens. Nick, what are you multiplying to get from the first ratio to the second? Times 100. So if you do everything right, 5 times 100 is C, 1,000.
5 times 200. No, it's times 200.
5 times, right, sorry, 5 times 200 gets you 1,000. Raise your hand if you got it. Okay. Number 3, we just did it, so I'm just going to give you the answer. It's A. Triangular prism. These are the sides that are parallel and congruent. That's how we identify prisms, by their congruent and parallel bases. Okay, letter D is tricky. I'm just curious. I want to take a survey. How many of you, and be honest, it's okay if you got it wrong. How many got A? How many got B? How many got C? How many got D? All right, not bad, pretty good. If you didn't, let me just show it to you, because if you count all of the boxes and don't count correctly, you can run into trouble. What I would do is this side is 2 boxes long, so this is 2. This guy is 1. A lot of kids will forget that one. This is 3. This is 2. What you're doing is putting the measurements for every single side and then adding it all up. 5 plus 2 is 7, 10, 12, 14, 16. I'm missing one somewhere.
Yeah. Right next to the 2 and 3. Right in the middle on the top.
Okay, 2, 3, 6, 8, 10, 12, 15 plus 5 is 20. Answer's D. Number 5, I'm going to just show it to you. A lot of questions about this yesterday. All right, do you remember back in Mod 1 I told you to underline your VIPs? This goes back a long ways. 250 students is an important VIP. Now you got to go to the chart and underline or circle the next VIP, because we are looking at those that chose plain pizza. When you have a percent, you have an entire ratio. And do you remember we did part to whole? Goes back a ways also. Part to whole is my template. 40% is 40 out of 100. Okay, then 250 from the problem itself. Is that the whole amount or part of the amount that we're trying to find? Gabby, the whole. That's all the students at Nessequake. So that's going on the bottom. However, it's tough to see what you're multiplying by here. Some of you can and realize you're multiplying by 2.5. But if you don't see it right away, you can downsize or downscale this to 20 over 50. And then you might be able to see the bottom is being multiplied by 5. And if you do the same to the top, you get 100, and 100 is your answer. How many of you got it right? That's pretty good. Okay, number 6. It's an LCM question. Did you realize that? It's an LCM question. When the numbers are small, 4 and 5, what I would do, count by 4s, count by 5s, first match you come to is your answer. I'm going to stop at 20 because you're going to make a match at 20. See what I did there? And then some of you just kind of see it in your head. Oh, 4 and 5, what's the smallest number that 4 and 5 go into? It's 20, so it's D. How do you change a percent to a decimal? Paige.
By 10.
What's the easier way to do it? Percent to decimal. Counselor.
You could do 6 over 100.
You could. What's the easiest way?
Oh,
What I tell you about any decimal to percent or percent to decimal, I got to do something.
you need the decimal to
Right, move the decimal twice to the left. 0.06A. How many of you got that right? Okay, great. Number 8 is a tough question. A good question, but it's a tough question. Survey style, how many have A? B? C? D? Most of you got it right. First thing I'm going to do is take the prism and decide how many faces, how many edges, how many vertices. How many faces? Luke, 6. How many edges? Come on, we just did it. Lydia. How many vertices? Skylar, 8. If we take edges to faces, that's 6 to 12, which is the same as 2 to 1. Okay, edges to, is it edges to faces? Let me just make sure. Edges, I have it reversed. It's still edges to faces, but it's 12 to 6. And 12 to 6, when you find that value of that ratio, is 2 to 1. So the answer is B. Number 9 is a TRF. Miles over kilometers. 5 to 1. 55 over what we're trying to find. What's the answer? Luke? It is. Okay. Number 10 is railroad tracks. What are you doing to the variable x? What are we doing to the variable x? Come on, I want to hear from you. It's always the same guys that have their hands up. Jess. Well, what's being done to it now? Not what we need to do. What's being done to it right now? By how much? Divided by 17. We have to do the opposite and multiply by 17. Whatever you do on one side, you got to do the other. And then 17 times 5 is 85. The answer is D.
I just made 5 over 1, and then
You could do it that way too. Okay? Number 11, I think is pretty straightforward. You just have to read your coordinates correctly. And if you do it right, it's -2, +6. Should be D. Maybe you got that right. 12 should be another easy layup. Should not everybody should get that right. We just did it. B. Yes? Okay. 13. Those of you that did this, how did you do it? You can't leave them like this. What's the plan of attack? Nick, tell me what you simplified it to. All right. See, but the problem with that is you can't start comparing fractions that have different denominators. What was the way that I taught you how to do it? Skylar. That's the way you should do it. You need to change them to decimals. So if you do that, you get 8.5. 8.3 repeating. This is, again, fraction families. This is why it comes in so handy. 8.75. And if you couldn't do 16/20ths, 16/20ths reduces to 4/5, which is 8.8. And that happens to be your answer, 8.8, letter D. How many of you got it right? All right. I spent some time on how to do it. When you see a question like this again on number 2 or even on the final, change them to decimals and then compare. All right. That's usually the best way to do it. With number 14, you can make a little mini coordinate plane to get an idea of where the point lies. -3, 5 would be here. And then you're reflecting over the x. And you wind up with -3, -5, A. Hands up if you got it right. Okay, great. 16, take a survey. For 16, how many have A? How many have B? How many have C? Oh, I'm sorry, what are we up to? Oh, 15. All right, for 15, how many have A? How many have B? How many have C? How many have D? B it is. 5 less than the price of the shirt is 15. Okay? $5 less than the original price P is 15. And then what sometimes also helps is find the answer. How much is the shirt? How much is the shirt originally? 20. So after you get it in your head and look back at it, see if the word problem then makes sense. The shirt is on sale for 15. The sale price is $5 less than the regular price. Well, you just told me the regular price is 20. So $5 less would make that sale price of 15. So substitute a number in, see if it works. All right? Now 16. How many have A? B? C? D? C it is. Move on. Okay, I think that's also another one that you should definitely get. It's a little bit of a breather. That easy ones mixed in with harder ones. That's the kind of the way they do it. I think 17 is another one of those toss-ups which should give you a bit of a breather. The answer is C. How many of you got it right? All right, sure, it's railroad tracks. What would you do first? You got to divide both sides by 5. So it's C. 17. Okay. 18. The way I would do it is take $7.80 and multiply it by 1.5. Did you do it that way? What do you get? Chelsea, what'd you get? What'd you get? $11.70. That's correct, B. All right, number 19 I'm curious about too, because this one I remember you guys had trouble with when we did it. Survey, 19, right? How many have A? B? C? Did you guys get smarter like in the last 12 weeks? What happened?
Yeah, I think so.
You grew up. You grew up. See, it is. I thought you guys would have trouble with that one. See, it is. if there's any that I just give you the answer and you really want me to go over it, any morning this week. I can't do lunches because it's just tight for all the teachers right now with grade books and getting stuff in. I'm here any morning. You want to come in and go over this? I'll be happy to do it with you. I'm here, and I know you can get here, so I'm here. Okay? This one is tricky. Let me see. You guys have been surprising me, though. How many have A? B? C? D? How did you get D? Really? All right, you're right. It's division. It's division. How many 3/4 are in 5.5? Okay? So that technically then becomes 5.5 divided by 3/4. Change 5.5 to an improper fraction. I'll do the work above here. There's more room.
Why can't this be just two then?
You could, but then you'll have to take the answer that's in a decimal and change it back into a mixed number to get the answer. Okay? The only reason I would say be careful of that, I kind of want you to know how to divide fractions just in case they are fractions such as your thirds that cannot be changed into decimals. So when you do it, and I'll just show it to you, and even if you got it right and didn't do it as fractions, jot this down so you have it on record. When you change this, it becomes 11/2. Keep, change, flip. It's a 3/4 already, so I'm going to change this to multiplication, and I'm going to flip this upside down. Then you can cross-reduce this. And you'll wind up with 22/3, which is a top-heavy number, and it goes in, 3 goes into 22 7 times with 1 left over. 7 1/3. All right, ready? Going on to 21. Are we up to 21? Yes. 5 feet longer than twice the width. Okay, I'm going to take the twice the width. Width is going to be W. That's twice the width, but it's 5 feet longer than that, so it's 2W plus 5A. Okay, I mean, you got that one right. All right. Number 22, you just kind of got to know it. Distributive property is when you take the number outside the parentheses and multiply it by each number inside. So that becomes 8 times 7 plus 8 times 5. C is the answer for that one. And 23 is tricky. It's PEMDAS. Let me see how you did with that. Curious about that one too. 23, ready? Survey. How many have A? B? C? D? Let me do it. Now we have like half and half. I will tell you, between C and D, it is one of those. Let me do it for you. Let me do it for you. Double check it. After I do each step, if you got it wrong, at least analyze where you made your mistake, because it's worth doing. Make sure I copied it down correctly first. Okay. What do you do first? Parentheses. 12 minus 5 is 7. I'm going to bring everything else down untouched. Hey, Dave. Just put it on my desk, but we're going over the review. What do you do next? Lukey. The little whoozy what? What is it?
I don't know what it's exponent. That's
The exponent. All right, ready? 2 to the third.
2 times 2 times 2.
Right. Did anybody put 6? Be careful. That's a sniper. It's 8. Bring everything else down. And again, seriously, let me advise you, do it step by step. If you try to do too many steps at one time, it all kind of runs into itself, and you'll wind up with the wrong answer. You got to be patient. Joe, what do I do next?
What number are we on?
Doesn't matter, just look up here. Can you see it?
No. I'm getting checked.
All right, somebody help him out. Sky, what do you do next? 2 times 7. Bring everything else down. We're almost home free. Now you do have to be careful too, because why should I not do 14 plus 8 first? I mean, addition takes priority over subtraction, doesn't it? Or does it? Sujata, what do I do next? Right. Subtraction or addition don't have power over each other. Whoever comes first on the left.
See,
49.
that's just hitting the number.
Be careful, because there's also a PEMDAS question. Listen, please.
How would you get 379? Yeah.
If you do it out of order, what they do, they being us, we make the final.
5 minus 2.
What we do is we take typical student mistakes that kids make and make them the wrong answers. If you do it out of order, like a typical mistake, and I'm not going to show you it again the wrong way, but if you go down the wrong path, you'll get 379 as a possible wrong answer. Okay? And I think we also have a mistake that if you take this 2 1/3 and make it a 6, you'll also wind up, I think, with 33. So all of these mistakes, what they're called distractors, are typical mistakes that students make. You have to be careful because PEMDAS is also on part 2 of this review packet. Jake. Yes. Number 24. Got to know it. It's from fraction families. That's why we do it. It's B. All right, GCF. They didn't give you a whole lot of room to work. Honestly, I think that you should be able to do 12 and 48 in your head. What's the highest number that goes into both? It's not. It's not, though. Patrick, it's 12. Because 12 can go into itself once, and it can go into 48 4 times. Now, I could do factor trees, but I'm not. There's other ways to do GCF other than doing it in your head if you need to. That one should come to you, though. It's a part 1 question. Usually those numbers are smaller where you're able to do it in your head. That same thing with that LCM that we did. They make them smaller numbers so you can work through it a little quicker. Part 2, though, they might give you an LCM with bigger numbers, 68 and 80, and you got to find the GCF, okay? And then you have to do factor trees, but we'll talk about that tomorrow. 26, curious about this one again. Last year, half the kids got this wrong on this review. Survey. How many at A, B, C, D? 8 over 1 is 8. Reciprocal, turn it upside down, and you would be right, it's D. Okay, just remember, you got to flip it. Don't change it from a whole number to an improper fraction. That's not what they're asking. Reciprocal means, technically means any number multiplied by itself results in a product of 1. But flip it upside down for you guys to easily remember that. That's right. That's right. When we did, remember we did reciprocal fraction Friday? Turn yourself upside down, turn the number upside down. All right, 27, right? I think you're going to be okay with this one. You just substitute the values in. Did you get B?
Yep.
Good. I want to show 28 because here you do have to divide. So keep change flip. Change it. Watch how neatly this works too when you cross reduce. It's great. This becomes 16 over 3 divided by, I'm not going to flip it yet, 8 over 3. Now I'm going to do my keep, change, and my flip. Jake, focus please. I keep this the way it is. I change that to multiplication. I turn 8/3 into 3/8. Watch this. Ready? That becomes 1 and 1. This becomes 2 over 1. 29 is another one of those layups that if you just look and know your number line, you should get C. Right?
Yep.
Please tell me you got that one right. That's a breather question. I say breather, that's one that you really should know. What'd you do? I'll have to take a look and see if something happened there. You had to have done keep, change, flip. It's a division. I'll have to take a look and see what happened. I mean, it's good that you got the right answer, but I'm curious just to know why. 30, did you get B? Hello?
Yeah.
It's an estimation, so you round your 4.02 to 4. Base times height is 16. 31 is a breather. Fraction family is 0.6. Tricky, let me show this one to you. You need to change them all to decimals or all to percents. 9/20ths. If I show it to you here, this is one where you have to make an equivalent fraction out of 100. This becomes 45 or 0.45. This is 0.35. 2/3 is what is a fraction? Paige? I'm sorry, it's 2/5, and you would be right. Or 0.40. And then 0.37 is the same. Now they're all decimals. When you arrange them from least to greatest, and make sure that it's least to greatest, don't reverse it. You wind up with, I believe, D. D is the answer. 33, we'll take a survey. How many got A? B. C. D.
No one rose their hand.
Yeah, because nobody knew how to do it. 33. How many? Okay, survey. 33. How many have A? B. C. D. Okay. It's A, but because of time, I'm just going to give you the answers to the remaining ones. But if you got them wrong and not sure, come to extra help this week. Let me give you just the answers for the remainder. 33 is A. 34. Confusion with this also, but it should be D. I mean, the ship on the water is at sea level, guys, okay? Should be no issues with 35. The answer is B. And 36 is distributive property. The answer is C.
Yay. I got a 90.
Score it. Give yourself a score. If each one is worth 3 points. Okay? Tonight, boys and girls, tonight, you're going to do part 2. We'll go over it quickly tomorrow, and then you'll start review book number 2. That's the one that's going to count. Okay? But when you do review book 2, you're allowed to look back into review book 1. It's like an open notebook thing. Don't lose your review sheets this week, though.